Esports coverage of Division 4, Round 9 here in Japan. This is one of the driver voted tracks, if I'm not mistaken. My name is ISRL Carter here in the commentator's booth with ISRL Knight. How you doing, Knight? Can't wait to get this one going. How do you feel this one's going to be like?
I'm excited. Like you said, it is the driver voted track, so a lot of these guys probably are looking forward to racing here as well, and that usually leads to some close, exciting racing. I'm sure that quite a few of these guys we're going to be seeing again on the weekend too, so we might have to take a look at some of the performances here. Keep those in mind as we head to the weekend. But kicking off the week in Japan, always a nice place to be, and I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Yep, as am I. Coming off of last weekend in Great Britain with one of the wildest finishes to a race in those last couple laps that we had in quite some time. But still, atop of the standings, it's the same guy who's been there the whole season. It's still Kurt Valletta in that Mercedes machine, well clear by over 120 points, or by actually exactly 120 points. Then it's the likes of Mark, Ephraim, and Victor kind of close together there with 149, 145, 124. And as the first cars start to make their way out to the track, what's the tire strategy going to be like, do you think, here? Does we see some of these guys maybe thinking about the mediums already?
You're asking the wrong person for that, because I usually take a look at Div 4 and then base my strategy based on what these guys pull off. But if we're looking at what's going to be right, I don't think we have to look any further than whatever Kurt's doing. He's been by far the most stellar driver of the season, and 8 races. He's got 6 wins, 1 DNF, and 28 points in the other one. So I think that's did he get a 4th place, or was that another podium?
I think he got another
Last
podium.
week.
He did.
Yeah, so if Kurt's doing it, it's probably the right thing to do. And he's on the softs right now, so good indication that some of these guys are going to be starting the race on the soft compound tire.
Yep, only 3 at least have it selected right now. We'll just have to wait and see as it progresses later into qualifying. Still, a lot of drivers out on an outlap, not a lot of spacing, at least between these guys who first came out. I think the Renault of RH2, though, kind of got the best, at least timed it the best, and was able to get out ahead. Actually, it wasn't RH2, it's Nazareth who's going to be the first to start, as Chris already, that's in the S section in Sector 1. He's out of qualifying before he even got started.
That's not how you want to start your qualifying session or your race. Is that car upside down? That car is upside down.
It looked like it.
So, well, that's definitely not how you want to start your race. Even if, you're starting at the back now not only, but you got that accident all the way in the back of your mind through the first couple laps until you get into the groove of the race. Definitely going to be kind of weighing at him, I think, in the opening laps.
Yep, absolutely, and we've got another one there that just looks like it's in the pit lane. It is Rusty Oil Can, didn't even attempt to go out.
He's got a qualifying ban,
he does have
I
a
believe,
qualifying
for
ban.
that retirement last week on track, so he's going to be sitting out the qualifying. That one was planned. Chris, less so.
Yep, and for Chris, again, I think it must have been on his out lap. I don't think he even got back around to start a lap. But so that's 2 drivers out already, and that's already 2 that you don't really have to worry about, at least for moving on. Well, actually, it's short qualifying, so no advancing, so that point's out the window. But it's now. Go ahead.
Still, it is something that these guys, we never had to worry about them, but a lot of these drivers now, they don't have to worry about those guys. They're out. They're guaranteed to start at least 18th, even if they put a lap that's 2 minutes off the pace. So I'm sure some of these guys that might have been qualifying towards the back of the pack, breathing a sigh of relief right now.
Yeah, and crossing the line is Kurt Valletta, and so far beaten by a pretty significant margin by its Nazareth. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that he's relatively new, if not this may be his first race. And so far, top of the leaderboard with Ephraim now going second.
I'm not too familiar with It's Nazareth. I don't think I've ever seen him. So that would point to his first race. But what a way to make an appearance, eh? Good entrance from him. 126.8 right off the bat. He's almost half a second clear of the next car behind him. And there's a crash in that's Brunky in the S's. He got on the curb and ran to the wall.
Yeah, and there he is, no front wing for that Ferrari. Had just completed a really good lap, put himself into third, but then immediately looks like crashed on the in lap. Luckily was able to get that time in before any major mistakes. Doomsray, someone I want to mention real quickly, had a great performance last weekend. Going to look for him to make another strong performance here this week and going out on the mediums already.
Absolutely. First podium of the season, I believe, last week in Silverstone. And, I mean, what an end to the race. He was P2, had a spin, fell down at P5, managed to claw his way back up to, again, P2 in the last couple of laps of the race, thanks to some fighting, some spins. He kept his composure, got his car back to where he was before, then held on for the podium. So is he going to be towards the front of the pack this race? We'll have to find out. But going on the mediums, that does suggest a fair bit of confidence that he's going to set a good lap time regardless.
Yep, and I've yet to get any word about the weather conditions for the race. Obviously right now all clear skies, and it doesn't look like any rain will happen anytime soon. So I guess that's one worry out of the window. The Maverick on his lap going a bit into the grass slowed him down just a little bit. But yeah, him, Doomsray, and Weeder, who I think is also another new driver, the only guys thinking about the mediums at the moment, as Maverick in Sector 2 now is still way in the grass through the entire straightaway right there, and it's a tough braking zone here into the final chicane as he locks up. But now just another difficult acceleration zone. Don't want to get the car too wide on the exit. Goes 12th, slowest of the relative lap time so far. So maybe the mediums, at least right now, aren't the best tire to maybe think about doing.
You're always going to be at a disadvantage with the medium tires. Of course, if everybody else qualifies on the softs, you're out of luck, right? You just got inherently less pace on them. You got less grip. If you somehow got the pace to qualify yourself in the top 10, though, then it's a great decision. But it doesn't hurt, especially early in qualifying, to go out and set those laps on the mediums, because worst case scenario, you go back out again, you got maybe 1 or 2 laps that you can set on the softs. Best case scenario, you qualify in the top 10 and you get to start on those medium tires, and you have a significant advantage going deeper into the race. So I don't blame these guys for giving it a try, but like you said, there's quite a bit of a difference between the pace of the mediums and the softs right now.
Yep, and that's Weeder, who actually improved better than Maverick, but still, as you mentioned, 2 seconds off the pace from Nazareth, and Kurt was able to claw back just a little bit and get to within about just under 4/10 of a second, but still not really used to this position. I guess in some qualifyings we sort of see him at this position right now, but yet another new challenger for Kurt Valedev. Can't be that too overconfident right now, especially with Ephraim Tabone, his championship rival, right behind him.
Well, he's beaten all the challengers so far, hasn't he?
So far.
Will this be different? Time will tell. Nazareth is starting another hot lap just now. He's just crossed the line. So will he be able to improve his time? We're going to find out in about a minute.
Oh, and that's Mushroom with a huge hit into the air over top of the barrels and out of qualifying. Oh my gosh! A huge crash from Mushroom.
That's the same place that Chris crashed at, so 2 spectacular crashes in the same corner. And I didn't catch quite what happened there, but it sounded absolutely ridiculous there. And unfortunately for Mushroom, he did manage to set a lap, so best he can start P6 right now.
Yeah, if you didn't get the chance to see it from your perspective, I highly recommend you pull up the stream and take a rewind on that one because that was one of the
Already,
most. Yeah, yeah.
already ahead of you.
Yeah.
Already ahead of you.
And as we've got now just about 8 minutes left, it's V Mark, one of the three Maltese drivers here, known to do pretty well here in D4. Coming around now, currently 7th, just underneath a second behind Nazareth. Clips the grass a little bit, but where's he going to go? He goes first. It's at 126.514 for V-Mark. He takes that pole position away from Nazareth, and now Kurt, he's going to start another lap, as well as Ephraim, where at least he was on one, but into the gravel. He went into the sand trap, so I think that might be his lap done.
If V-Mark can get ahead of Nazareth, I think Kurt can get ahead of Nazareth as well. V-Mark, very good driver. We've seen him get some good results here in Division 4, but I'm not sure that he's faster than Kurt Valletta around any circuit, at least from what we've seen so far this season. So is this maybe just Kurt Valletta's kryptonite? And I think it might be, as he just had a spin under the bridge.
Kurt Valletta, he did.
Yeah, and he's lost the car. He's facing the wrong way on the circuit now, and I think this might just be his kryptonite.
Well, and you've got making a case for it, at least at the moment. Still third and still facing the wrong way. Now finally getting it back turned around the right way. No front wing. He's going to have to come back into the pits. Bacher goes up to 6th, improves by about 4/10.
Oh! And,
what's happened there? And there goes Azen. He spun.
What is happening here? So... while that was happening with Azen, Kurt Valletta tried to move out of the way of Nazareth, and they actually collided, and Kurt's picked up a 5-place grid penalty for it.
So huge implications here. Cars just scattering all over the track here, and there's Ephraim's also had a spin now out of the hairpin.
I think somebody's put oil on the circuit or something.
And then there's a a Racing Point in the S's who's had a bit of a spin. So a lot of chaos here. A 5-place grid penalty for Kurt. So as you were mentioning, I'll go back to your point. The kryptonite is, this has got to be it. A huge penalty for the championship leader.
Yeah, and it is Kurt Valletta who's picked up the penalty. So Nazareth is okay. I mean, he did get his lap completely blocked, and he's gonna have to try again. But at least he does not pick up that unfortunate penalty. But another thing I did see opening up the race director is that Always Rick and Danny Boy apparently have had some contact at some point in qualifying that we missed, because they also have a grid penalty.
So that's now 3 drivers with a grid penalty to add on to Chris and Rusty Oil Can being eliminated due to crashing from this session. So that's already, and Mushroom for that matter. But so if you're amongst those 2 drivers, you might even, or those 3, you might even be thinking of gaining more positions before the race starts.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just, so much happening right now on the track that it's hard to follow. Danny Boy, who is on a hot lap, he hasn't set a time yet. He's one of the ones with a grid penalty, who's he's gone purple in sector 2. He's coming across the line now, and yeah, he goes P1, but he's gonna start at least 6th now. He's got that grid penalty that he picked up at the start of qualifying. That's so unfortunate for him.
Yeah, well, at least it sends the message to not only V-Mark and Nazareth, but also Kurt, that there's another new guy who is able to at least put up a better lap in qualifying so far. But now as the time starts to wind down, they're really going to start to run out of chances, is now Weeder currently about 2.5 behind Danny Boy's, coming around to end his lap. Looked like a better chicane than his last lap. Now he's just gonna have to see what the time's gonna look like, and it is definitely better. Goes up into 6, improves by 1.6 seconds.
That's a good lap there from Weeder, and we're seeing at the front the gaps start to close up. Of course, when Nasser's first set that lap, the next fastest lap was a 127.5, and now you've got not only 2 guys ahead of him, but from 4th to 7th, it's split by just over a 10th or 1.150, so it's going to be quite close. These guys all have enough time to set one more lap if they're not already on their in-lap. So expect to see those times drop just a little bit further as we get further into qualifying.
Yep, and one guy who's already on his lap, I don't think it'll be his final lap. He might be going out for 2 here, but it's Sprunky who had that bit of a moment earlier. So just gonna have to wait and see. Drivers getting out of the way. Most of these drivers now still into the pits, waiting on that perfect timing to go out and get a bit of a slipstream from some of these other competitors, and we'll just have to wait and see who's going to be the first one to kind of pull the plug, and we'll probably see the rest of them file out along with them. The Sprunky goes purple in the second sector. Got a bit of a slipstream almost, it looked like, from RH2. Don't think it was really enough to make too much of a difference, but any difference matters. Where is Sprunky going to go? Ooh, 127 flat. He's up to 4th, so a good lap from the Ferrari driver.
That's P3 if you count Danny Boy's penalty.
It's also very true.
That's a good lap there from Sprunky. He's gotten himself. He's still on the same row of the grid, but he's I'm P3. You got the inside line going into turn 1, I think, on this track. So it's definitely a very advantageous place to be. But He's always been very strong in qualifying, hasn't he? He started at the front. It's during the races that he picks up so much bad luck, and we saw him in the lead in Baku have a moment. I believe it happened actually in another race in Belgium. I think he was in the lead and had an accident as well, or close to the front and had an accident. So can he keep it together for the whole race? We'll find out in about a minute 50, but to get up to P4, that is a statement that you're comfortable with the track, you've got confidence in the car, so I expect to see at least a solid drive from Sprunky.
And I was about to say Nazareth was 5/10 up, but yeah, he goes even faster, just about a half of a tenth up on Danny Boy. But I've also got Ephraim about to finish his likely final hot lap here in qualifying, as there's just over a minute to go. Looks like it's maybe in an abandoned lap time by Ephraim. It's into the 135, so this will not count. So this, I think, will be his true final lap. So we'll wait for him to come back around. And so now it looks like all the drivers who want to set another lap have already left the pit lane.
Yeah, they've got to get around the track quickly here. You got 50 seconds. Some of these guys in Sector 2 are going to be cutting it quite close. But I'm on board with Ephraim right now. It's a very clean lap so far through the S's, carrying a lot of speed through everything. And coming up to the Sector 1 timing line, he's basically even. He's dead even with his previous time. So hopefully for him, he's got some time to pick up in Sector 2, Sector 3, and he can improve that lap time.
Yep, and Danny Boy was able to cross the line. He's going to get another lap in, I think, as well as Bacher. Still 24 seconds left, but the guys, I think, on the back straightaway, I think those are the two Renaults. One of them, RH2, is going to be cutting it real close here.
I think RH2 might be on... Oh, no, he is on an outlap. He's just gone by his teammate. Yeah, 8 seconds left to go through the whole chicane.
Yep, we're riding with him now. He's swinging it around the chicane, trying to make it into the grass. He's not going to do it.
Just cutting it just a little bit too close there. And unfortunately for him, yeah, not able to set that time. Did Ephraim... Ephraim has had a moment. He's given up on his lap. He's 12 seconds up, so they're not going to improve on his end. I think V-Mark was able to cross the line in time, but Doomsray, who we did talk about getting that podium last race, he's on the back straight now. I think he's going to be the next car to cross the line.
Nearly
and he's half a second,
up.
Yeah, half a second up on his time here.
Yep, final chicane for Doomsray, second place a week ago. Looking to follow it up here with a good starting position. Where's he going to be across the line? It's only 15th for the McLaren. Not what he wanted, that's for sure. What about Danny Boy? His lap's been invalidated. Now it's just up to Bacher, and I think V-Mark and Kurt still all left across, and Captain Blade. Where's Bacher? He's going to go 4th. Did V-Mark get another one? And yes, he did. He's crossing the chicane now for the final time. He comes up to the line. Where's V-Mark going to go? Does he go fastest? He does go fastest, but now where's Kurt going to go? He's invalidated.
So V-Mark stealing the pole position there. Kurt starting 6th. We haven't seen that ever, I think. He's always so strong in qualifying, and now he's starting 6th. He's got that 5-place grid penalty, so Kurt is starting on those used tires in 11th, I think.
Yeah, due to that grid place penalty, we're gonna have to check here the official starting grid because of all the grid drops. But and there it is. So I'm gonna do some quick math here. So Kurt will
Danny
start
Boy, yeah,
11th.
Danny Boy's going to be starting 8th. Always Rick's going to be starting 16th. So everybody, basically, most of the grid's going to move up at least a little bit. Bacher Sprunky then locking out the second row.
Yep, and Nazareth for his first qualifying in Division 4 gets second. Danny Boy is qualified third on track, but again mentioned will drop down to 8th. And Kurt, really the biggest surprise, as we mentioned before, 11th on old tires. It's got it all to make up, and all the Maltese guys besides VMark kind of amongst each other in the lower half of the bottom 10 there.
Yeah, and I was just in the Discord going to congratulate VMark for that lap, but excited to get started. I think that's his first pole position of the season, so gonna be interesting to see what he can, if he can hold on to that lead. He's got some strong competition behind him, VMark, and as they're about to get on the formation lap there. Do you think he's gonna who do you think is gonna be leading the race going into turn 2? Is a better question.
Well, VMark has definitely shown that he's got the pace off the line. Been even not having that pole position before, starting either on the first row or behind. He's gotten used to some pretty good starts so far, and just the outright pace we know that he has. So look to VMark to maybe take this one before they turn in for turn number 1. But clear weather. Don't know the entire forecast still, but at least for the moment, no rain. A bit of clouds in the sky as we are
Yeah, it does
starting to
not
get
look
ready
like
for
it's
the
gonna
formation
rain.
lap.
I'm going to make my prediction. I think VMark and Nazareth are going to pull a little Senna and Prost on us. Clip wheels going into turn 1. We're going to see some Bacher leading the Grand Prix again. He led, basically, I think he led every lap of the Division 3 Grand Prix in Silverstone. I'm sure he's carrying that momentum into this Division 4 race. And I'm predicting some tangles at the start, and we're going to see a Red Bull in the lead. And it's not because I'm biased. It's not because I race for Red Bull on Sundays. But I think we're going to see. I think, you know what? I think we're going to see Always Rick on the podium as well by the end of the race for Red Bull 1-2. And I'm not biased. Before
So the
anybody says that.
non-biased Red Bull driver picks 2 Red Bulls and 1 starting 16th to get on the podium. But again, I mean, you
Do
never know.
not,
We'll just wait and
eh,
see.
do not underestimate the safety cars. Do not underestimate the safety cars.
That is very true. Through the S section, it's going to be critical that these guys keep it clean, or more likely than not, we will see that safety car take a little trip out onto the
Uh,
Suzuka circuit.
if qualifying's anything to go by, I think we're going to see it more than once.
Yeah, no kidding. We had Mushroom, who, thank goodness, he's able to still drive that car. Made it back into 11th, so that's where he'll start after setting that 1 lap. And thank goodness he did set that pretty decent lap before that
Yeah,
horrific-looking crash.
I did go back on the stream and look at it, and he took an
Yeah.
absolute. He was. It looked like he was skateboarding on that barrier.
Yep.
There was a tail grind or something. I don't skateboard, but I think that's a move. And I did want to point out something. It's that now that we are talking about Mushroom, is that he's the only one starting on the hard tires. Everybody else, a lot of guys at the back, going for the softs. And Mushroom and Kurt just apparently tapped
Oh, a
because
lot
he's
of
disappeared
people.
off my screen. But I think that the leaders there, VMark's taking his nice time on the formation lap, making sure those tires get warmed up. What that's caused is a couple of guys came out of Spoon with a little bit too much speed and maybe checked up a little bit behind. But yeah, Mushroom, the only guy starting on the hard tires. And clearly a lot of guys are aiming for the softs. I know the softs do quite a few laps on this track. But there's a couple mediums, but on the hards, what's the strategy going on with Mushroom there? Is he gonna try to like outlast the safety cars, pit towards the end?
Yeah, we saw some drivers. I think I can't remember which division it was, either 1 or 4, who who tried to go the entire race on one set of tires until I think maybe the last 3 laps and then pit. Not sure if that's what Mushroom's doing necessarily. In fact, I probably doubt it. But definitely going to look to go longer than the rest of these guys, as now they're just going to wait for the lights to come on to signify the start of the race. And that's not the camera angle we want. Neither is that. There we go. Now I'm just going to wait for the lights. I hear 1, I hear 2, 3, 4. Just waiting for the 5th light. There it is. And apparently they're out, and we are off. It is VMark who gets a pretty good start. Nazareth, though, looks like he got an even better one. He's going to go side by side into turn 1. Nearly some contact. They're still side by side. Still jostling at it. Who's going to get the lead out of turn 1? It's Nazareth and VMark. They're still side by side, but it's the Renault who goes too deep, and it's VMark able to get back ahead. But Nazareth still able to hold on to second. Sprunky Bacher and Danny Boy following up closely behind.
Wow, what a start there from the McLaren and the Renault going side by side through the opening set of corners. One wing has had enough, but other than that, everybody getting through the start okay. The 2 racing points have fallen a bit down the order, and I did see, I think it was Ephraim had a bad start. He's below his teammate now. But other than that, great start from all of these drivers, keeping it clean through the first set of corners.
And got to keep an eye on those guys who picked up those grid place penalties. Kurt's one of them. He's only made up, I think, one. He did start 10th for some reason. Mushroom started 11th. So he's still stationary at the moment, at least. Who's the other
not
one?
anymore.
No.
He's had a moment there. He's got on the grass and lost the position to Mushroom. He's going to lose it to Victor as well here, I think, into 130R.
So a bit unusual things we're seeing here from Kurt. Not used to some of these mistakes. Nearly some contact. He's going to go down the inside of Mushroom. A big lockup. They're going to go side by side through the final chicane. And it is, wow, Kurt's able to get past Mushroom. And he's going to get at least one of those positions back.
That move was shades of last week, I think, some unfinished business from Silverstone, because we saw them fight, and it was a great fight through the last couple laps of the race. And Kurt not hesitating at all to send it there down the inside of Mushroom.
Yep, and lost a couple of places previously. Who's that in off? Is that Rusty Oil Can? Yeah, he's had some trouble. And there's another one. Who was that? Was that a Ferrari around? It's Sprunky. He's had a spin.
Oh, no. And I feel bad for Sprunky now. That's just a string of bad luck continuing. And I hope that there's some safety cars for him to catch up back into this pack and turn this race around.
But still, no safety cars, a lot of spins, but yet to see either the VSC or the full safety car. It's still VMart from Nazareth, Danny Boy, and Bacher. Those 4 have kind of separated each other, but Lil Weeder is starting to maybe look to make a move on Azen. No DRS yet. It'll be activated at the end of this lap, but he's still got overtake and slipstream. What's happened here? Captain Blade falling down the order. In the Haas down into 13th. That was near Kurt once again, so all the action seems to be happening around the championship leader. Can't really seem to avoid anything so far in this race.
No, I'm sure he's quite scared seeing these guys spin around him, and I mean himself also spinning as well. And Danny Boy setting the fastest lap of the race. He's up 4 positions from where he started. He's basically reversed that grid penalty already.
Yep, in the podium positions as of the moment, still only lap 3. Nazareth keeping a relatively close gap between him and Mark. Is that another yellow flag? Who is that? Bacher's out of the race. What happened there to the
my
Red
prediction.
Bull? Yep, already.
There's
your safety car though that you were looking for, and I don't think you wanted it from your prediction, but that's how it turned out. Not sure exactly what happened to Bacher. Did you catch it?
I did not catch it, but no, just seeing where he spun and knowing that track, I do have to think might have rode the curve just a little bit too much, and it's so easy to lose the car there because you're putting so much weight, you're asking so much grip from the tires that you get on the curve, you lose grip just a little bit while you're almost full throttle there through the corners. The rear end just steps out, and as you try to catch it, it's we've seen more than one car kind of fishtail into the barriers.
And it was, at least that time for Bacher, that was the the unlucky time for him. You seem to go through those corners, or at least that particular one, with a bit of a worry every single time. It's really never an easy corner to go through at any lap of the race, and at least
Oh,
this time it's
V-Mark's
caught him
pitting.
out, as well
So
as
our leaders are
Nazarus.
pitting.
So with this interesting strategy from those two, Danny Boy's going to stay out. And is anyone else
Yeah.
coming in? There's a lot of other drivers who's thinking about pitting in this race early.
Yeah, a couple of these guys spinning. Danny Boy's playing some games of his own here. I saw him there under Delta, revving that car way up. He's trying to burn that extra fuel so that he's got a lighter car. Of course, engine parts and stuff like that don't matter too much since they reset from race to race in these multiplayer lobbies. But he's basically just in sixth gear on the back straight, revving on the rev limiter, trying to burn that extra fuel to get his car lighter. So I think that non-pit stop from Danny Boy completely intentional. He's just trying to get the car lighter so he can get a great exit away from the safety car, kind of leave those guys that pitted in the dust.
Definitely a bit of an interesting tactic from the Ferrari, but anything to help that's legal, I guess. Oh, these guys might want to be spacing out just a little bit, though. Something that we've been saying a lot here at the commentator booth, but nothing new there. But that was just Azen and Danny Boy nearly making contact. But this has really helped Kurt, just like that, up into third. It's kind of the same thing that happened last weekend. He had a bit of a moment early in the race, and it seemed like just within a couple laps, just found himself back into contention once again. So whether it's just the circumstances, Kurt's got to be counting his lucky stars here.
Well, some people make their own luck. I think not to steal a quote from Drive to Survive or anything, but I'm paraphrasing here. But you got to be good to be lucky because you got to put yourself into those situations where the roll of the dice is going to tend to favor you more often. And Kurt, despite that grid penalty, despite starting further back from the pack, he's kept his car out of trouble, kept it clean, and opting not to pit while most of the top 10 has pit, has just lifted him straight into the podium places. But you have to remember, V-Mark's in 9th, Nazarus is in 10th. They have pitted. Weeder in 13th, Ephraim in 14th. They've pitted as well. So if Kurt cannot get a good gap to the rest of that pack on the restart, then he is essentially a pit stop down.
Yep, absolutely. So it's kind of, again, luck of the draw here for Kurt. There's a kind of a risk with every move that you take. So at least for him in this instance, you just pointed it out. Mushroom in 4th. Again, can't hardly believe he's able to drive it, but on the hard tires in 4th after starting in 11th, and now that's RH2 with another collision under safety car. We saw a lot in the formation lap.
They've both picked up a penalty off of that one, and I think actually RH2's got some wing damage. So definitely just staying way too close to the car ahead, and
all these
under
guys.
safety car you got 10 car lengths. And the safety car tells you it's going in half a lap early. You have no reason to be on the diffuser of the guy ahead of you. Just take your space, warm up your tires, stay far away, and then when the safety car comes in, then you can bunch up all you want and then take caution there. But it's better to take caution for half a lap than it is for 3 whole laps under safety car.
Yeah, and because of that, as you mentioned, he's going to have to come back into the pits here relatively soon, get a new front wing on, and that's pretty much ruined his race. He's gonna have to pray for another safety car. RH2 is, but Cosmo really, I don't know. There, he's just kind of the victim, being run into the back of. But even he picks up a penalty, so really not going to be happy with the Renault driver, and really because those are the only 2 drivers so far who have even picked up a penalty.
Yeah, if he finishes the race there with some penalties at the end, I'm sure that we can expect him to challenge and get it removed. But safety car in this lap, so this is the part now where they get to check up and
coming
try to
coming
be
out of
careful.
130R
There's
though.
a lot of people carrying a lot of speed through 130Rs. Those cars pile up behind, and that could have been so nasty. so nasty. I thought I got scared there.
Yep, saw what looked to be Doomsray go a little bit wide to avoid. There's another collision warning going really slowly. There's an in plate. Was that Mushroom losing an in plate?
Yep.
And it is. So he's going
He's
to
gonna
get a
dive.
penalty. Probably Kurt gets a penalty. So
He's
Mushroom
gonna
into the
dive right into
pits.
the pits, and off the hard tires. That's Mushroom off that ideal strategy that he had picked for himself of going deep into the race on the hards. He's now got an early pit stop, and at the worst possible time, it's right after the safety car comes in. So he's going to be essentially 20, 25 seconds away from the rest of the pack, driving alone, and he's put the softs on, which guarantees him another pit stop.
Yep, would have gone on to the mediums, or at least should have. More likely could have gone to the end of the race. That's Captain Blade having a huge moment through the S's, able to keep the car straight, even behind him. The leaders before at the pit stop, V-Mark and it's Nazarus, keeping each other company, and Sprunky right behind him, but kind of glossed over it quickly. That's Chris had a gasped there, thought they may have been Kurt, but speaking of Kurt, he picked up a penalty for colliding under safety car, so that's 5 seconds for him now too, so another handicap for Kurt's race.
I think that was from Mushroom going into the back of him. Sprunky and Chris, though, going side by side through Spoon. Oh, that was always going to end poorly for Chris.
And there goes Chris.
That nose in there. And that was a carbon copy of what we saw Vettel do a couple of seasons ago into Spoon, where he just tried, I think it was on the Red Bull, he tried that move, tried to stick his nose in there, and you can't go too wide through the entry to Spoon. So Chris, around he goes, and now he's at the back of the pack.
So Kurt's teammate Chris, as he said, carbon copy of Seb's spin at Spoon, and sends him down the order. Now V-Mark DRS on Captain Blade, or I don't think he's got DRS just yet, but a good slipstream, fresher tires, able to close that gap just a little bit, but he's also holding up Nazarus, and there's a bit of a train starting to form here with Captain Blade.
I think it might be stuck behind Maverick, if anything.
Yep, does Maverick have wing damage? It was Mushroom who picked up the wing damage. Yep. So it's not him, but another yellow flag. It's another full safety car. It is Rusty Oil Can.
It's
in the
pit lane. No, it's Chris. Chris is the one who retired coming out of turn 2.
Yep, there it is. There is Chris. Let me quickly see if I can get to RH2 to see what happened to Chris. And we're going to keep it, at least right now, with RH2. Hopefully...
Yeah, he's just spun on the onto the inside there. And hit that barrier. You can see, you just saw that car despawn. And I think probably just lighting up the tires coming out. Of course, he's frustrated. He's just had that spin. He's far from the pack, maybe pushing the car a little bit too hard there. And that's the end of Chris's day.
So no points for Chris today. Rusty Oil Can, not sure what happened to him. He retired in the pit lane, but seemingly as the safety car came out. So that's two drivers out of the race.
Yeah, coincidence for Rusty. He was running far from the pack there. I think he might have had a bit of a moment. I know our leader's pitting, but I think Rusty's just frustrated with that qualifying ban he took last week. He did tell me in DMs he was planning on retiring early. And I think he's just gone ahead and done that. So, I guess not the kind of attitude you'd want to see from a driver there to just give up this early in a race, especially a race that we predicted so many safety cars at. He for sure had a chance to get back in. I mean, just look at guys. Kurt's in the lead now. V-Mark and Nazarus are back in 4th and 5th. Doomsray was running 4th until he pit just now. So there's so many opportunities to get back in the race. And retiring in the pit early, you basically throw away all of them.
Yep, probably one of the easier races to guarantee yourself at least a better chance of getting points. As you mentioned, 3 guys already out, and or 2 for that matter before he did, and he's kind of just helping these other guys get a little bit more comfortable, knowing that you only have to beat 2 drivers now to get yourself into the points. And it is Kurt. Somehow, even with the grid place, the 5-place penalty, he is the leader under safety car on lap 8. He's yet to pit in this race, and was the only driver on the softs who did not pit. Danny Boy got off the softs, and Azen did as well. Kurt Valletta deciding to stay out.
Maverick has got himself up into an amazing position. He hasn't pit yet. Neither is Captain Blade behind him, but both of them on the mediums. Um, some of the guys behind him will have to pit. I think these guys might have been able to go on the hards to the end, but it would be a little bit tight, I think, if you're in using more tire wear on your setup. But yeah, P2, P3 for those two guys who started on the mediums. Maverick is up 16 places from where he started, and he's just got to hold on and kind of steal some DRS from Kurt, get away from the pack, and hope that you can convert that into, if not a podium, some great points.
Put himself in the position to do it, but still, long ways to go here, and with the way things have been going so far, can't really say that I'd be surprised if another safety car were to come out, or at least a VSC. But yep, and it's V-Mark, Nazareth, Ephraim who have made their way back up into the front of the pack. They've already made one pit stop. Let me put the tire data back on. Let's see here, with about 18 laps left, Ephraim and Weeder can definitely go to the end of this race. Can the mediums make it another 16 laps in this race?
I think it's going to be a tough ask. If they're fresh, yeah, probably. You might be struggling for grip there at the end, but I don't think they're going to pop before the end. 16 laps is more than enough on mediums usually. But if you've got 4, 6 laps on them already, like some of these guys do, hey, that's a different story. I think if the lack of grip doesn't get you, they might just straight up not make it to the end.
So guys, there's drivers like Danny Boy and Aizen might be in a pretty good position at this stage in the race. More likely than the medium runners in front of them to make it to the end, or even to make it with less of an issue getting there. Found himself in the lead of the race early, and he might at the end of the race as well with this strategy.
Yeah, I think if anybody, it's Ephraim and LL Weeder who've gotten themselves up into a great position. They're on the hards. They can go to the end for sure. And, you know, it's they don't have too many cars ahead of them. The ones that are most likely will have to pit again. V-Mark and Nazareth, maybe not. It is going to be borderline, though, so there is going to be a period where they're going to have a bit more pace than the guys ahead. So I think they're looking very strong here for a chance at the win, even.
And penalties are also more than likely are going to come into effect in determining the finishing order, at least the official finishing order. And safety car making a late decision here to come in this lap, waited till after 130R to decide. So that's going to put some of these guys in a bit of an interesting position to kind of get everyone stacked up. Hopefully no collisions or anything doesn't appear, at least at the moment. And now Kurt already, he's picked the time to go, and it's right now. We're back underway, and he got a great start on those soft tires.
Completely by surprise there. Look at the gap from V-Mark to Kurt. It's almost 3 seconds.
Yep, now Captain Blade looks to the inside of Maverick, nearly some contact, but Maverick kind of saw him at the last second and gave him just enough room. But that's the Haas driver up into second place.
Yeah, good move there from the Haas. I didn't see just how clean that one was. I kind of saw the aftermath of it, but to get himself up into second place off the safety car restart, that's a solid statement. And now he's just going to try to hunt down Kurt. V-Mark has already closed up that gap, though, thanks to that little fight by them. And he's going to be able to...
Oh, who's that? Who's that an off? RH2. So he's had another incident in the S's. Wasn't even referring to him. There was a bit of dust that had been thrown up right in front of V-Mark, but I don't think anyone's had an incident, at least nothing too serious, as now V-Mark and Nazareth once again going side by side, and once again it's Nazareth getting ahead of the McLaren driver. Going into Spoon, had another incident at the back that looks like to be one wing. Nazareth is out of spin, gets into the Maverick, and another Seb Vettel-esque spin at Spoon.
Good save there from Nazareth. They keep it out of the wall and not lose too much time, but now V-Mark is cruising ahead in the distance. You're down in P11, and he's going to have to start fighting back, clawing his way through the field.
So, as you mentioned, a good save, but a lot of positions lost. No damage, I don't think, but just got a little bit too overzealous, I think. A bit too eager and just clipped the rear left of the Maverick. Danny Boy making up some progress rather quickly on those fresh mediums. Gets past Victor heading into turn one and is now able to
Nazareth and
clear him.
Cosmo into turn one. That was a little scary. But Nazareth, like I said, getting ahead there and working on catching up to VMark. I think Mushroom had a moment as well. He's back in the pits, and he did drop behind. Yeah, another front wing change for Mushroom. He did drop behind one wing coming out of Spoon. So it was right after one wing spin. Mushroom had to spin himself, I think. He's back on the hards now. Those are the hards he started the race with.
I think they are indeed. Nazareth picking up some positions, not making up for any lost time, or he is making up for lost time. Excuse me. Into ninth, gets past Always Rick without too much issue, and now quickly going to look at Victor once again to get up into eighth. Kurt's got a bit, or excuse me, he's put a bit of a gap on Captain Blade. Nothing really out of the ordinary that we're seeing from Kurt right now, but the penalties are starting to show themselves on the scoreboard here. How big of a factor do you think this might turn out being, considering it is Japan?
It is a little bit hard to cut corners here. There's a few that you can. The chicane's one of them, as Danny Boy actually makes a nice move around LL Weeder there into the chicane. But the chicane is one of them. Coming out of the S's, that fast double right-hander, you can get some penalties there too if you're a little bit too overzealous on the entry or the exit, whether from cutting the corner or going wide. But outside of that, I mean, Spoon, you're not really going to pick up penalties unless you go wide every corner. The hairpin is, you're never going to get a penalty there.
Ooh, Maverick and VMark going side by side in the S's. Sorry to cut you off, but a huge move by VMark without spinning neither himself or Maverick around. A great move to get himself into third, and now Captain Blade, I think, is going to be his next target, and rather quickly. Now, looking to go side by side, but now this is not the place where you want to do it. Wait till here, makes a huge dive bomb. Is he going to be able to keep it in front? He does, and the Haas clips the rear end of him, saves it, and keeps the car on track.
Absolutely sent it there from Mark into the hairpin, but he makes it stick. And it's Captain Blade going to try to have a peek there into Spoon. VMark is defending so aggressively. He's making that car 2 cars wide there. Captain Blade just not able to sneak by. And down the straight, though, DRS is enabled. So when they get onto the main street, if Captain Blade is still close, he's going to have another go, I think. And after that move from VMark, I don't think he's going to be too nice about it.
Yeah, because he's going to look to do it here. Broke a lot later than VMark did, but I don't think really committed to trying to make a pass, and I think that's all for the better, because that was not going to work out. But he doesn't get the exit because of it that I think he wanted, and I think that's going to cost him maybe picking up this position. Yeah, he's not close enough to VMark at the moment, but Nazareth is close enough to Weeder to make a move going into turn one. He's up to 7th, so making up some quick positions here. The Renault driver starting to kind of play catch up here after that earlier incident.
Yeah, I know. I know that he's got a tough road ahead of him, but definitely already up to P7. He's doing good work so far. He looks like he's going to be taking P6 any time now. It's not even P5, but what all this fighting is doing though is it's letting Kurt Valletta just cruise on ahead there. And Ephraim, Captain Blade doing the exact same thing to Ephraim as VMark did to him and to the hairpin, but unfortunately for Captain Blade, not able to make it stick.
Oh, they're both around a huge crash!
Oh my goodness, they just clipped each other and right into the wall. They're both out.
A humongous crash involving Ephraim, who was, I can't really deny it. He was looking like a great contender to win this race, and does the blame really just lay on Captain Blade there? Gotta just turn both of them into the wall.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't have the best angle for that. It looks like they just got too close. Wheels got clipped, and they just both went right off track. But that's a gigantic impact onto the wall. Both cars taking air off the rebound, and both cars out of the race. Now we've only got 14 cars left in here.
some drivers pitting. Kurt is one of them. Danny Boy is not one of them, so he will stay out with 13 laps left. He can make it, but it's going to be a bit tight. How many positions is Victor going to gain? Can he get past Kurt exiting the pits? And he does. Or sorry, that's One Wing getting past Kurt. So only losing about 4 places, Kurt, and V-Mark also pit. Maverick and Nazareth chose the softs to go 13 laps. What do you think of that move?
I mean, 13 laps on on the softs. Kurt did it at the start. He did 13 laps. Well, I guess 14 laps, but there was 2 safety cars in there. So I don't know if the softs are going to last 13 laps. You have, if you don't count the safety car laps, you got about 12 laps to go on them, and even then, it's going to be super marginal if you're asking me. So it's a gamble. He's going to have so much more pace though at the start. Is it a gamble worth taking though?
I can't imagine, because we've used up 3 safety cars already, so really we can only have 2 more. So I guess theoretically they could, if we were to have 2 more full safety cars, as we saw Kurt do it. But yeah, that's a big if, and probably very unlikely. But then again, we've seen 3 within the first half of this race, so you know, just kind of leaving it all up to the F1 gods to bring them at least 2 more safety cars. Penalties aren't too much of an issue. Sorry about that. It's just Weeder, who's got that 8 seconds, who that might hamper him if he does indeed keep himself up there.
I think 5 of those might not have been his fault. What I was gonna say was that both drivers in the chat right now are trying to blame each other. Not 100% sure what's going through their mind. I know they're both. I don't think either of them is willing to admit fault here.
I mean, I really wouldn't want to either. That was caught right on stream, and it was a huge crash. So tension's definitely high after that one, especially for Ephraim being up there in the championship in Division 4. This is round 9. We're in Japan. Thank you everyone who's tuned in so far. We're on lap 15 of 27 under safety car. It's Danny Boy in the lead. 2 new guys, I think. I'm pretty sure they're both brand new, but yeah, a 1-2 at the moment. Aizen, great positioning, great position for him right now. He's 3rd, One Wing, following up his great performance on Sunday in Division 3. He's in 4th place. Kurt Valletta, even after his pit stop out of the lead of the race, he'll restart 5th. And V-Mark and Maverick and Nazareth, who've kind of pretty much been amongst each other the entire race, will start that way as well. So I'm pretty sure it'll come in this lap. So it's going to be a 12-lap sprint to the end. Hopefully no more safety cars. Can keep it clean, and we can decide most of this on track.
Yeah, with all of these guys, basically, I think safe to say they're all in their last pit stop here, unless there's another safety car and they try to take advantage of a new strategy. One Wing, 13 places up into P4. Maverick, 11 places up into P7. Can any of these guys get themselves on the podium? Because that would be an instant Driver of the Week nomination.
Yeah, on the hard tires, so won't have to make another pit stop regardless. I mean, he could if he wanted to onto the softs, given if there's another safety car, but great position for him. And getting ready to go back
lap.
here.
Again, so, very late.
Yeah, but an even later decision. Not really sure what's up with that. Definitely, that's going to have to be fixed, because it's going to really bunch out these guys. Danny Boy really given a small window of opportunity, but he's going to take it now and gets a great start. I think he caught the Haas driver napping a bit, and now he's going to be under pressure from Aizen with the slipstream going into turn 1. And One Wing may even have a look. He doesn't this time. And but now here, Aizen nearly thought about going to the inside of Weeder, but again, not really the place you want to be making that move, so he'll stay single file for now. A big train now starting to form behind one wing. Kurt, Valletta, VMark, and Maverick. Even Nazareth starting to join in on this as well. VMark's going to look to the inside of Kurt. Not able to get the car fully alongside, and I think it's probably the better decision there, or that would have probably been contact guaranteed. Was that a Red Bull going off? I'm not sure. I think it was. Always no, it was not. But who is this going down the inside? Nazareth, they're double file here, side by side. Bit of contact between Kurt and the Renault, and it's Kurt who's going to get the better hand now, but they're still battling behind him.
This is where we saw that huge incident that caused the last safety car, and they got to be careful through there, because as we saw, little contact, it can send you right to the wall, and I don't know how we escaped that with no damage to anybody's front wings. They were so close together, all 5 cars there.
Nazareth used just a good portion of that straightaway using overtake, but not able to look to make a move yet. No one is going through the chicane, still all single file. Danny Boy continues to lead the race, but a bad exit from the Mercedes and a switchback from Nazareth. They're going to go side by side. No, Curvaletto got some great traction and a lot of ERS and some slipstream from the Williams. Going to go around the outside, is he? Yes, into 4th place, and Nazareth looked to follow him, but the door closed, and that closed also for VMark, who I think made contact with the rear end of Nazareth.
Oh man, and some daring overtakes here late in the race. 10 laps to go. You got to start kind of committing to this stuff just like that into turn 1, and some good driving to just keep everything under control from all drivers involved here.
Even Azen now starting to put some pressure on Weeder. Danny Boy is kind of set sail here, put himself 4 seconds ahead, 4.5 ahead of the rest of the pack, but again, it's still these guys from 5th on down. One wing having to fend off the leaders of the championship, or the guys fighting amongst it. There was some contact, but again, we've seen contact through that corner almost every lap. But still no spin from these drivers, at least this time. And that is Nazareth able to overtake one wing and the Williams, and now under pressure from VMark. No more ERS. He's used up all that he can use on this lap, and that's really going to cost him down the straightaway going into 130R side by side, clips the grass. The McLaren able to get past him before the chicane, but a huge dive bomb and a very dangerous dive bomb from one wing, and he thankfully gives the position back to the McLaren. He's being hounded by everyone right now.
Some good defense there to keep them at bay. But how long can he last? Or can he last until the end of the race? We'll have to find out there. Got 9 laps to go here in Japan.
The Alfa Romeo of Maverick is now going to be the next guy on his hit list. Much fresher tires, the soft tires, and a lot less laps logged onto them. One wing, he was in that 4th position to start out with, said he may be in a good spot, but a lot of the drivers with fresher tires behind him took advantage of it and dropped him down the order into 7th. And Nazareth now getting really close to Azen. He's using overtake. He's going to make a dive bomb into the hairpin. Just a slight bit of contact, but a great move from Nazareth. He's up to P4 on the softs. And I think really Kurt and Weeder might be in a bit of trouble here. Seeing how easy it was for Nazareth on those softs to get past both Azen and VMark.
The problem with Nazareth, and we knew he was going to be fast here, is will those tires last? Kurt made the softs last 13, 14 laps, but about 6 of those were under safety car conditions, so you're not putting any wear on them. Now, was Nazareth banking on another safety car? Will we get another safety car? I think we'll have to wait and find out, but it's possible that he gets past Kurt, he gets past Weeder, he might even catch up to Danny Boy here. But if he gets a flat or those tires fall off the cliff and he's got to coast around every corner, they're not going to be worth much at the end of the race.
Kurt Valletta overtake mode enabled down the front straightaway, able to get past Weeder on the mediums. Weeder's got a penalty to boot. Kurt was able to get rid of his in his pit stop. I just realized that. So no 5 seconds for Kurt. So he's good to go for the end of the race as long as he keeps it clean. Now Nazareth really starting to really chop that gap in half between himself and the Haas. And look at that, nearly gaining multiple tenths of a second here through Sector 1 with the softer compounded tires. That's really where the advantage for him is going to show itself.
Yeah, Doomsday, unfortunately for him, is running a good race. He's out of spin, no damage, but that's dropped him all the way down to 14th here. So if there's another safety car, he'll be able to get back in. But as far as I'm concerned, that's probably the end of his competitiveness in this race.
Nazareth now with a good exit out of Spoon. Weeder went a bit too wide for his liking. Overtake from the Renault. They're very close together, side by side. He's going to want to get the move done before 130R, and he does get it done. So that is Nazareth taking advantage of the softs up into third, and a bit of contact. Weeder late on the brakes, clips the rear end, and around he goes. And he's going to have to wait for everyone to go by without rejoining the track too unsafely. Gets back right in front of Always Rick, who he does let by, but no damage, just a wrong tap at the rear end, kind of at the wrong time.
It looks like he kind of hit the rear wheel there with the middle of that front wing, so no damage, fortunately for him, but so much time lost. And now he's got to work. He's got to work to get in the top 10, and unless there's another safety car, it's going to be a very hard battle.
Sprunky closing up to one wing. Nazareth putting the pressure on Kurt, but I think this is the one where we might want to. Well, what's happened here? Maverick's had a spin.
He's hit the wall. He's lost his front wing.
And look, and that's Weeder. He's retired out of the race. Just as we switched off of him, what happened to the man in third place at this race?
Same place as Maverick. He's hit the same inside wall,
and there's
he's out of the race.
Car.
There's no safety car. The very safety car that Weeder needed to get back in the race comes out because Weeder crashes out of the race. And a cruel twist of irony here in Japan, we've only got 13 cars left.
Well, I mean, this is going to be... I think this was kind of the last really possible moment that a safety car could come out, because we're going to spend, 3 laps under safety car? Or it was getting close to it, I think. Because when this safety car eventually does come in, it's going to be lap 23, 24. So is pitting for softs really worth it at this point? Danny Boy doesn't think so. He stays out. So does Kurt. And yeah, I think that's what the majority of these cars are deciding, is that it's too late in the game to pit. It's not worth it anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if anybody. I think if you're at the back like Doomsday,
yeah,
I'd pit for some. Yeah, always Rick. That's a smart move, pitting for the softs. Maverick as well. Doomsday's pitting. These guys, they don't lose much. Pitting maybe a couple of points if it doesn't pan out, but you get a great advantage into the race. Mushroom has gotten himself back up into an interesting position here in P8 thanks to these safety cars. But again, he's on the hards and he's got a lot of soft tires behind him, so he's going to have to play some defense, as well as who is it? I think it's One Wing on the hards as well. Who's again just gonna kind of have to hold on and hope he can make it to the end without losing too many positions.
Danny Boy is going to be another one of these guys who might have to hang on here. He got kind of separated from the rest of the pack, as I think it was Lil Weeder was behind him on the restart, but now he's got Kurt directly behind him on the restart, as well as Nazareth on the soft tires. But I think starting here soon, the softs might start to slowly wear out, and Remark also, he's in a pretty good place on only 6 lap old mediums. But Danny Boy, is he in a bit of trouble here? We've seen him have some good pace in the race, but he's got Kurt behind him. He's had a shaky race, but how do you see things playing out here for the leader?
I don't know, to be honest. Kurt's so strong so far this season, but Danny Boy's showing great pace. The thing with Danny Boy, he's had that lead. He's been pushing his tires quite hard to hold on to that lead, but they're twice the age of Kurt's tires. Nazareth behind him on the 6 lap old soft tires, as well as he's going to have more pace than Danny Boy. Behind Nazareth, V-Mark, 6 lap old medium tires. So Danny Boy is going to have a significant pace disadvantage just from the tire and the tire grip. But he's going to have the advantage that he can try to get a good restart again, and he can try to jump the queue and get himself that early lead. And with the safety car coming in on, there's going to be at least 4 laps, possibly less. I think the safety car should come in at the end of this lap here. So 4 laps of racing for Danny Boy to hold on and get a win, or for Kurt to keep the streak of domination alive, or who knows, maybe Nazareth, maybe VMark, maybe Aizen, who can still be in the hunt here.
Aizen finds himself right now 5th. He's on the significantly more worn mediums, but he's on the same. He's in the same boat as the leader. He's also got a couple of penalties. I'll go ahead and put those on just to see where the penalty situation is. That's not the one I want to change. There it is. So only 3 seconds for Aizen, 3 seconds for Sprunky. Always Rick Doomsray also with 3 seconds. Cosmo's got 8. So penalties, at least up to this point, haven't played too much of a factor. But there's been quite a lot of them, but because of the safety cars, a lot of these guys have been able to get rid of them during their pit stops.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the end. I do hope Nazareth's tires don't die between now and the final lap, because if he can just get the pace on the softs, and I think we're going to have some great battles there. I hope he's been taking care of them through the last couple laps. And just looking at the tire surface for him, they don't look too damaged. I don't see any blisters or anything. I know they're not super obvious in this game, but yeah, they still look nice and slick. So hopefully, he's able to hang on, and safety car in this lap is giving them much better. Yeah, much better notification this time.
But some of these guys still going a bit too hot into 130R. Luckily, there's a bit more spacing with only 13 drivers, but up at the front here, it's a different story. Really bunched up together, and that's the leader and Kurt, who both picked up penalties for colliding with each other before the green flag even dropped. So now, Nazareth, VMark, we're going to follow with them because they are really the leaders, the de facto leaders. We've got another driver who's picked up a penalty for colliding under the safety car. So these guys don't pit yet. They'll stay out, but they've got some 5 seconds of penalties. So I think they're just going to have to, they wouldn't definitely not pit, but they got to get 5 seconds clear of it's Nazareth and on 14 lap old mediums, and even with the Kurt on 8 lap olds, it's a really daunting task. But I mean, they've got a good bit of distance so far, or at least Danny Boy does. You know, how's this going to play out? How do you see it playing out? What's he have to do to really manage this gap?
I think, well, first of all, I think Danny Boy is going to get his 5 second removed if he appeals it.
That's true, yeah.
Because Kurt was the car behind. If the contact wasn't major, it's possible Kurt gets his removed too. It's possible it stays. But either way, these guys got to start pushing, and I don't know how Danny Boy is doing it with tires that old to already have a 1 second gap to Kurt. But Nazareth is showing he's still got some pace in the soft. So if VMark can hang on, if Nazareth can get past Kurt, he's still, both of these guys, both Nazareth, VMark, and Kurt, I said both, but I named 3 guys, they all have a shot at the win here. Even Danny Boy, who obviously is in the lead, has got the best shot right now, but it's anybody's game in the final laps.
So stewarding is definitely going to have to come into play here to decide the official winner. Nazareth is going to look down the inside of the championship leader in the Mercedes side by side into turn 1. A little bit of contact maybe, but relatively clean. Gets past him just barely at the nick of time. He's up into second, and now he's got 1.3 seconds to get up to Danny Boy. And as you mentioned, that penalty for the Ferrari will most likely get removed. So he's still in the best position out of the 3 or 4 of these drivers, counting VMark. But Nazareth still, he's got a great opportunity. 3 laps left. It'll be, at the line. So still plenty of time for him. Always Rick's out of spin. He's fallen down the order as well as that Cosmo 2 has been collected. So is there another, no VSC. So we're going to stay green on the track. But yeah, Danny Boy on these incredibly old tires. You mentioned, I really don't know how he's doing it, but it's mighty impressive.
And yeah, now he's gone on the hunt. Nazareth going on the hunt for Danny Boy. He's already got the gap within a second. If he can hang on to that gap until all the way through 130R, then he's gonna get DRS down the straight. And now after that, it's just to hope the tires don't die. They hope they don't fall off a cliff. Hope you don't get loose at the wrong moment because you've got no grip. And it's gonna be an exciting end as DRS gets enabled here.
Yep,
Oh, but he's not going to have it this lap because the detection point was before the turn, so he's going to get a next lap. Another lap for Danny Boy to hold on.
Yep, and Nazareth has about 35% of battery remaining. Let's take a look at Danny Boy. He's got around half, so if needed on the straights, he's got a little bit more in the tank. But really slinging the car around Sector 1, losing a bit of time, got onto the curb, which could have been disastrous at that part of the track, but able to keep it going the right direction. But in the process, though, he really is starting to lose more and more time. Azen picks up a penalty, but he's starting to lose more time to Nazareth.
V-Mark, though, with no penalties, he's definitely going to jump.
He'll jump Kurt.
In the final order, but if those penalties stick, who knows? Who knows at this point? I didn't really see the incident, but it didn't look too bad because neither of them got damage out of it.
Yep, and yeah, so
second.
yeah, and it's interesting that it would automatically. I know the contact was made, so it's supposed to do it, but it must have been some slight contact, as you mentioned, no damage, but instantly slapped both of them with a 5-second penalty. But Danny's is the most likely to get removed. So I mean, he's still keeping Nazareth around that 0.8 of a second gap. He is going to get DRS this time. Overtake mode being used from Nazareth, but he's going to turn it off now. They're actually now around the same amount of ERS remaining. Even with
top
the
four is.
Yeah, and even with the DRS, Nazareth couldn't really put too much of a dent into Danny Boy. And always Rick retires with just a couple laps to go, approaching Spoon. Around where Ephraim and Captain Blade had their incident, so he's out. And now only 12
sure what
remain.
Happened to Rick there. Really not sure what happened to Rick there. I didn't see it. There's nobody near him, so we can't go and take a look. Sprunky going for the fastest lap, and he gets. I'm sure he'll be happy to get that one. As he pit for the softs there.
As Mushroom had a bit of some trouble, and he's off again. Mushroom nearly comes back onto the track and into the gravel. He goes, so some tread marks will be left for the other competitors to have a look at and say, that's where Mushroom's line was. What happened?
20 lap old tires for Mushroom. I thought he had a flat because of the way he was turning into the corner. No, he's just got no front wing.
So he's had some trouble somewhere around the track. We just didn't get to see it.
Yeah, he's definitely collected the wall there, and just the way he was turning into the corner, I thought for sure he had a flat tire, and that's what caused it. But no, it's a symptom of the spin. He's got no front wing.
And now they're gonna start the final lap. Nazareth has got a much better exit. He's got not a lot of overtake. He does have DRS. Danny Boy trying to hold on the final lap. Who's going to make the move? A terrible camera angle. Not able to go side by side. It's still the Ferrari hanging strong in the lead of the race.
Behind them, the same carbon copy is happening with Kurt and Mark, as Mark is just chasing down Kurt for that last podium place. So we've got two big battles here brewing with only just a few corners to go in Japan.
Yeah, we could see him in the background, that orange and light or dark black cars of V-Mark and Kurt. Into the dirt goes Danny Boy. Doesn't hamper him too much, but Nazareth doesn't have a lot of ERS remaining. Danny Boy's got around 26, so he's got a good straightaway, I think, or at least a good portion of it to fend off from the Renault driver. But time is running out for Nazareth. It's going to have to be the straightaway where he gains the majority of his time back.
And yeah, only one big straightaway to go. You're not gonna. The finish line is at the start of that start-finish straight, so you're not gonna get an overtaken opportunity there. Can any of them catch up? I think Nazareth is just a little bit too far this time around.
Yep, out of ERS, and for that matter, so is Danny Boy, using it all on the last straightaway. And then I don't know how he's done it, but on 18-lap-old mediums, through a bit of chaos, some penalties on restarts, it's still Danny Boy. It'll be Nazareth on track. but Danny Boy, likely to get his penalty removed, will most likely be the winner. But Nazareth V Mark, at least in the game, will come across first and second. Kurt, one of the most chaotic races for him. Coming to finish there, One Wing and Maverick trading spots. Cosmos, Sprunky, and Mushroom are going to be the last to file in. But Danny Boy, I don't. What a great drive! 19 laps on those mediums and was able to fend off Kurt
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Nazareth.
fantastic drive there from Danny Boy, coming in, I believe, as a reserve, and is just absolutely showing dominance here. He might just end up with a seat the way he was driving today, but what a finish from the top four, staying close together. They're basically doing the in-lap in formation
Yeah,
there,
really.
and it's so close at the end of the race, giving us a great show here for Division 4, and I'm just... yeah, that was super enjoyable to watch. A lot of safety cars as predicted. Lots of drama. We got some big crashes from Ephraim, and I think we're going to get more than a couple things making the highlight reel out of this Division 4 Grand Prix.
Absolutely. So, a bit of in-game controversy. Nazareth taking his place at the top step and kind of claiming that win, but we're just going to have to wait and see. Danny Boy most likely going to pick up the win. And as you mentioned, a reserve driver. He's 1-for-1 here in ISRL at Division 4, so he picks up the win. There's your in-game podium. So kind of nice to see a bit of a, not kind of the same old of Kurt kind of running away with it. A bit of drama, as you mentioned, and really treated us to a great race. Only 13 drivers, I think, were classified. I think 12 were classified. No, 13. Yeah, always Rick. He had that incident as the race started to wind down. But I think that's going to conclude this one. This has been round 9 here at Division 4. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. We've got Formula Fridays coming up this Friday at, I think it's 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think it's 9 due to daylight savings time. And then on Sunday, we've got Divisions 3, 2, and 1. So be sure to hit subscribe. And yeah, for ISRL Night, thank you for joining me in the commentary booth. My name has been ISRL Carter. We hope to see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.